Well, hello and welcome to Inner Balance TV. I'm your host, Dwaine Hartman, and tonight I'm interviewing Gayle Mack. Gayle has keys to Ascension.com, and if you ever want to meet a light being, a pillar of light, you want to take in this interview. We're going to be talking about all the things I love to talk about, like dimensions and vibrations and making shifts and downloads to yourself. And through her help, she can help you do these sorts of things. Now, she's been all over the world and in Egypt and all over and in her studies. So let's get on with the interview with Gayle. Well, hello, Gayle. How are you today?
I'm great, thanks.
That's
and
good.
Yourself?
I'm good. Good. I wanted to interview you because, first of all, you have delightful energy. And you're doing a lot of work to assist humanity in any way you can to raise vibration and to help people get connected once again to their true nature or their source. And you're traveling all over the U.S. and all over, actually, really?
All over, yes.
Yeah, not just the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And you're helping people to attune to these frequencies, right?
I am. The transition, the planet's moving multidimensional, and the transition with humanity, whether you're conscious of it or not, I've been guided and asked to help humanity. Sorry, my little dog's got a little active. So I'm helping humanity with that transition to understand it, and okay, she's down.
I thought maybe you were just moving the energy.
Okay, I'm moving energy now. Okay, that's all right. We're good. Calm.
Yeah.
All right, good. So did I answer that?
I think so. I don't know. So you're helping people connect.
And move into their higher multidimensional selves, their light bodies. I've become my light body a couple times in this lifetime, and it's that's kind of my mission to help humanity achieve that state, and myself included when we do it at will.
Mm-hmm. You had an interesting experience at Mount Shasta.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you like me to share that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. On 12/11, it actually started 12/11 in 2012, and we had gone up to do energy because my boyfriend Jason and I both felt we needed to be on Mount Shasta. And we went up on the mountain, and there had been a really large snowfall, so we couldn't go too far, but there was this ring of trees, and I was guided to go up there, so we created sacred space. And in the midst of this snowstorm, once we called in the directions, the clouds parted, and this beam of light came down in the middle of the snowstorm and just bathed us and myself with light. And symbols were coming down, frequencies, resonance. All I kept saying was, thank you, yes, yes, thank you, yes. It was just really, it was wonderful. And so when I asked what that was, Divine Source said they were giving me the light language, and that several people, or many people around the world, were given the light language, and that I had promised to bring it forth, and it was time to step up and do so.
Mm-hmm. So from that moment, you really stepped up and stepped out, eh?
I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, the beam and the symbology, I've had an experience with Octurians where all of a sudden, they decide, you've made the agreement before coming here, but it's, all of a sudden there's this hello that happens.
Yes, now.
Remember your journey? Right? Remember what you're supposed to be doing here. So I understand all of a sudden, you know, there's this experience that happens that says, okay, time is now, right?
Yes. And it was so intense, and there was so much energy that ran through my body that it actually melted and disintegrated the soles of my hiking boots. So I walked into a crystal shop, and I thought I was leaving crumblies of mud. And this lady said, no, dear, your shoes have come apart. And the cushion between the bottom of the soles and my shoes had disintegrated.
Out there in the snow?
Yes. And they were fine when I walked up there.
That's right, eh? That's right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how these experiences happen, and, you know, you can't, well, you can. It's getting to the point where you can tell everybody. Yes. You know, you can tell everybody because it's time for people to hear it, right? It
is. We made that transition, the March 21st, yes, the spring equinox. So that was a real big transition. We started the process in 12/12, but we really stepped in on the spring equinox. We really stepped in and anchored that feminine wave and that multidimensionality. And it's conscious or not, we're moving into that multidimensionality, and it's time for people, they're awakening really fast. They don't understand what's going on. Others are looking to awaken fast and don't have the answers. So those who have it, we're called to share.
Yep, that's right. So with the multidimensional aspect that you're talking about, all of us have this multidimensional aspect, and the thing that is that you're bringing people back into the awareness of that, eh?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're remembering how to be multidimensional, as everybody is, and we're in a 3D experience. We actually just moved out of this, out of a cycle that was a victim mode, power over people. It was a ego-based, driven period, and it really locked people into being limited and not thinking for themselves and allowing other people to do for them, thinking that they couldn't do it. And now we're moving into this new cycle, this new phase where you are self-empowered and you can do this, and you're waking up. It's brilliant, and it just comes from unconditional love. It's divine love.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
With the programs, with the hypnotherapy programs, I had to change a lot of it, right? Because it was at the time that I took it, it was very egocentric or ego-based, you know. It was, you know, I was the one doing it, and I didn't like that from the beginning because I knew what my purpose was here. But shifting that and changing that into something that's completely self-empowered for people, self-empowering them, teaching them along with, you know, and the results are amazing. And it's amazing how, you know what, at the beginning when I started 14 years ago, it was a long stretch to even say that you create your own reality. And now people are coming in and saying, I need to adjust and let go of some things so I can create my reality better. They're coming in off the street saying that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I mean, to me, that's the gauge that things are really changing, you know, and people are becoming really, really aware of what they're doing. Yeah?
They are.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in Egypt in 1988, at the Temple of Isis, I became my light body. That was the first time I became a light body, and it was witnessed by many, many people. And Divine Mother, Divine Source, they came through and said, we will show you how to do this and hold your energy until you learn to do this on your own. And now that's what I'm doing, is helping people, holding your energy, raising your energy, and holding that space, that sacred space, until you can remember to do it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And trust. It's really a trust, because some people know it, but they don't trust that they can do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is our heritage, really, isn't it?
It is. It is very much so.
When we start to take a look at ancient Egypt, and we realize that there was a much higher technology and a much higher spirituality, science, and creativity at that time, because it all was one.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, and even before that, we chose to come here.
Even before that, yes, they were anchoring that multidimensionality, and it was the high priest and priestesses and the temples along the Nile. They were actually initiation temples that you would start, and you would do the lower chakras, and when you cleared the issues of the lower chakras, you would move to the next temple, and once you cleared the second chakra, then you would move to the third chakra temple, and you would keep going until you came to the Great Pyramid. And that's where the sarcophagus, going into the pit, then you backing up, you go into the pit, and then you have your fears projected to you, and depending on how you do, then you could transition up to the Queen's Chamber, which is in the heart, and then you move to the sarcophagus, and that was your multidimensionality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had an interesting story, if I could share this.
Definitely.
When I was in Egypt, a lot of my friends had given me crystals because they wanted to anchor their energy into the Great Pyramid, and I had this dress on that had like the kerchief tails edges, and so I tied crystals that people had put their energy in, and I tied the crystals in knots and all these in my skirt. So as I was coming up from the pit, all of a sudden we're hearing, and someone said, "Oh, your crystals, you're losing your crystals." All those knots came untied, but just one or two. It's the energy of the people, even though they got their wish of being in the Great Pyramid, but because they hadn't moved into a place of unconditional love, their crystals stayed in the pit, and the rest of us ascended up into the Queen's Chamber and the King's Chamber. It's very cool.
Wow.
People were echoing down, "Leave the crystals alone, don't carry them up." It was funny.
Exactly, hey? Wow.
Yeah. I like stuff like that.
And yeah, because you have to look at the full meaning, right? Somebody would have just went, and picked up the crystals, but to understand what that fully meant, right?
Yep, I fulfilled my promise, and they were anchored in, their energy was anchored into the pyramid, but they weren't clear enough to move into the Queen's Chamber, into the heart. They probably are now, but at the time,
Now, with the downloads you've received, with the experiences you have, are you assisting people to move through those levels?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. You bet. And sometimes it comes very quickly.
Yeah.
It's an integration. It's basically when I share the energy, it's like an attunement. It's like I pull the energy in, and Divine Source guides me at the level and the degree and intensity to in which to share. And we integrate that energy into the individual's energy, and they access it and utilize it as they raise their frequency, so they don't get blown out. In the past, people have spun out if they called in too much energy, and now we're in a place where it's much more gentle and much more grace, and people just integrate at their own pace. Mm-hmm. You do have to watch what you ask for, because when you create, you have to be cautious of what you say, because you do manifest what you say immediately. So there has to be that conscious intent when you're speaking and asking to raise, because when you raise your frequency, that which is not of unconditional love in a lower frequency comes up to see where you're at.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. So now you're doing this and helping people online as well. right?
I do, yes.
Over the phone. And plus you're traveling and you're going and teaching?
Yes. I have a conference coming up at the end of March in the Temple of Saqqara in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
That's on my website. You can click on events, so that's really nice. On the 26th that starts. So it's a really sweet thing, group channeling. So teachings come through. Mm-hmm. Last year was pretty interesting because everyone was nervous about having the right tools and the right wisdom for moving into the new age. So Divine just collected. Someone said, "Oh, how are we going to have the energy? You know, we're not going to see you now until next July." So Divine just collected all the energy of everything each one required, and as they were spiraling it up and they placed it into the crowd, then I went in the opposite direction that was spiraled up because it was a little bit too much. Then poof, I was on the ground. But everybody got what they needed in that attunement, so to speak, to carry them through to this transition.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. So you spun the opposite way just for fun? No,
I think Divine kind of rewound me because I had collected, there was probably 80 to 100 people in the area, in the tent. So when you're thinking all of these people, everything that they require and desire to help them through the transition, I collected all of that, and Divine used me to infuse it, but it was just a little bit too much because all of those individuals in my body, and it just, beep, beep, boop, they just unwound me a little bit, so I was where I needed to be and not taking on everything that everybody else for the whole group.
Right, right. Cool.
It was. I had to look over. It's like, are my arms still there? I heard this, and I was on the ground, and I'm looking to see, do I still have arms, legs? Then I started to laugh.
Not that it would even concern you, right? If you didn't.
No.
No.
Yeah, I would just put them back on.
Yeah. So, I mean, the opportunity to talk to you is rare. To be able to talk this way and have an interview, and because you're so busy, and so there's so much that I want to ask you about, and I like to go for like, what does it feel like, so people can understand, you know, when you're at these higher levels, because a lot of people think, well, you know, I have this going on in my life and that going on in my life. It's very interesting how fast these things just straighten up, don't they?
Yes.
When you just raise vibration, it's all about frequency and vibration, isn't it?
It is. It's that pure, unconditional love. And some people, they know the definition, but they really, with their lives in this lifetime, they haven't really experienced pure, divine, unconditional love. So what I feel is just this immense, my heart starts to swell with this immense love. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's so much that the tear passes, and it's just, you know, it's mothers, when they look down upon their child, they have that. It's just such a grace, and it's unconditional love. It's so powerful that it beams through me. So when you move into that place of unconditional love, it can't help when it raises and increases. It permeates through your body and your energy and your aura, and those people that are around you then get affected. They get raised just being in the presence of it. It's just beautiful.
So then things that are discordant, old patterns, old things that used to hold you back, these sorts of things can't do that anymore. or you can't do that to yourself anymore when you raise your vibration, correct?
Yes and no. So when you hold that divine unconditional love with every breath and every step, every thought, as Divine often shares at the end or sometime during a channeling, they share that phrase. When you hold that divine unconditional love with every breath and every step and every thought, you truly are holding unconditional love. So your past emotional discomforts are healed. They're transformed. They're transmuted. On the journey to being in unconditional love with every moment and every breath, every step, as you raise your frequency, that which has been hidden or you tap down and avoided, because it's common in the spiritual realm that oftentimes I see that people really, they do the techniques and use tools and they move into a higher dimension, but they're forgetting the third dimension. So they go and they experience all these wonderful things in fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimension, but their third dimensional life is a mess. So we're now in the place in the transition, you have to bring balance to the third dimension to have the complete true access to your multidimensionality. Not just the higher realms, but complete multidimensionality. So as you raise your frequency, that which needs to be healed, forgiven, loved, it comes up. And as quick as you can forgive it and love it, it'll be gone. You can mess with it as long as you want. It's your choice. It can be a rough transition or healing. It can take a long time. People say, "Oh, it's gonna take a long time to get through that." Well, it doesn't. As soon as you think it and you move it into unconditional love, it's done. So grace and ease, swiftness. That's what I like.
Yes, I agree. I like that too. Yeah. Long-term suffering, no.
It doesn't have a place in this realm, in this cycle
No.
anymore.
No, it doesn't. And so when you were talking about we experience these higher levels, and there's an old word called grounding it. Now, it doesn't mean shutting it off. And a lot of people think, oh, when I ground myself, I shut off from these higher levels. That's still
Right.
duality. No. It's about bringing these higher frequencies and actually grounding them in your life so that you're living that sort of life. Like yourself, myself, I live a reality that most people would not even understand, right? Because of the way that I live my life. I mean, with vibration and different things, that the type of freedom is quite interesting, isn't it? How easy it is to kind of deal with things. As long as I get out of my own way, I know that.
Yes.
Just pop out of my own way and let the higher aspect of myself do it, and then this part eventually gets healed. Right?
Yes.
That it's a life that most people walking in, like your boyfriend, you said?
Yes, Jason. Mm-hmm.
Jason. You must be similar vibration to exist with each other, right?
Yes. He when I met him, I went to a seminar, and I walked in, and the seminar hadn't started yet. We were just walking into the room, and he was just taking notes, and he just had this glow about him, like this halo. And I said, "Oh, he has some nice energy." And my girlfriend said, "I wonder if he's single." I was like, "Oh, please." And about that time, he turned around, and he just grinned at me, and I grinned back, and we just kept grinning at each other. And finally, I said, "Okay, I'll start this. I'm Gayle."
Yeah.
And there it's been ever since.
Now, the thing that is, in order for I mean, you must have an interesting reality as well, right? That maybe, not everybody would understand who isn't vibrationally there, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my neighbors, they have nicknames for me, and all done in love, but it's like, oh yes, they'll ask me, I'll go on trips and sacred, doing sacred work, and they'll ask me, what'd you do in Stonehenge? And I said, do you really want to know, or do you want the tourist version?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you want the truth, or? Yeah.
So, because I usually leave them with their mouths hanging open. I mean, things happen to me that happen in Spielberg movies. So, it's, I push the envelope all the time, spiritually.
So, the question is, are you from here, or did you come here?
Well, we all came here. When I ask that question, I don't get, like some people really get, they're Arcturian, they're this, and from Sirius. For me, when I ask that, I see this clear veil, and I just see this little point, like push through, like saran wrap, and I'm through, and I'm here. So I come from the all that is. That's. And I've been many places, but that's my first memory when I ask that question. Yeah. So for me, that's from the all that is I came through.
And helping people to remember that they were from there too, right?
Yes.
I find there's a lot of, a lot of different... there's a lot of different concepts, ideas, and everything else, but what helps me to really ground myself is to come back to Source itself. And that,
yes.
And that all things, whether they're plant, animal, higher beings, aliens, whatever, all resonate with the Source energy within.
Yes.
And that we all come back to that Source energy, that true nature. We can really clear out a lot of stuff that we're confused about or trying to, get involved with or whatever to find our way to that. That's really what people want, is that reconnect.
And that's the direction we're going right now. And when you move into the all that is, and you're truly multidimensional and you become light, there is no separation of time, because time is all expansive. So you can say, I'm from this planet, or, this culture, or I was, this person in a past life. We all were, in essence, because all that is all the thought forms and all the energy and all the beings that everybody has ever been. It's just moving, just in this reality of our third dimension reality, where we're moving multidimensional. We're starting to have that, the grasp of who we've been in this journey, remembering back to our multidimensional light bodies and being one with all that is. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Because the work is, the real work or play or joy of it is bringing that through and filtering it out through this dimension.
Yes.
Right.
And then it raises this dimension, and and the third dimension is always going to exist. It's just we'll be able to access this dimension, but we will be able to access more dimensions.
Exactly.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And the more you remember, and the clearer you get, the higher the dimensions and the realms. And I tell you, there's no words to explain the feeling when you step into your light body. There just are no words. Euphoric is so minute of a word when you're in that space. It's the bliss and the joy and the love is just, it's just wonderful. I don't know how else to say that.
How do you do that?
I haven't found a word yet, but I'm working on it. But you know, when I pull in that energy and I'm conscious of it and I'm sharing it with other people, that's the energy. So I get to, and it's really delightful for me. It's one of my favorite things is to pull in the energy and be the anchor, the channel that shares that energy so somebody else can experience what I'm experiencing. Because once they experience it, their conscious mind goes, oh, yes. And then they can go back to it whenever they want to. So I hold that energy for them and the frequency until they can hold it themselves at will.
Yeah.
And it's just a really joyous thing. So that's what I do, is I share that love energy.
So when you go into your multidimensional light body, that's you. How do you do that? You bring it in, and then how you share that with somebody is just by them witnessing it, and then they're reminded of it.
Yes. So it comes different ways. When I'm in a sacred vortex, a sacred space, like in Banff, Canada, I became a column of light. And I was really out. When I was the column of light, I wasn't conscious of what was going on. I was just in this flow. And I was me, but there really wasn't, I wasn't aware of anything. I didn't see anything except light and love. And then I hear over the loudspeaker, someone's on a microphone saying we were doing a Melchizedek initiation. And I was hearing there are other priests and priestesses available to initiate. You don't all have to get in the same line. And so as this kept coming across, it kept anchoring me back into my physical body. And my friend Eric was next to me, and I looked at him and I said, oh, I'm sorry, I blipped out on you. And he's just glowing, and he said, you are a column of light. I said, what? You were a column of light. And he looked, he said, everybody wants to be initiated by you. And so as I look out, there's hundreds of people standing in front of me, and there were, I think, 8 other priests and priestesses that were doing initiations, but they all saw that light. But in that space, there was no physicality. It was just that divine, all that is to divine love. In Egypt, when I was my light body, you saw my body in light. It was like multidimensional. And I was aware of everything. I heard the conversations and the thoughts of the people that were sitting on the steps and everybody that was in the room. So I was aware. So there was 2 different levels. Divine actually showed me the 2 different levels of being light body. It was just another step up.
I heard you say something very, very simple, easy, but profound. And that is, in doing this, just to love and be yourself.
Yes.
It's more and more levels of letting go of the masks we think we ought to be, getting out of our own way and being ourself. Just be yourself, just be yourself, right?
Yes. And the ego, the ego has its place. It's a balanced ego, as your candle's going. The ego has its place because it's helping with this transition in the 3rd dimension. It's a balanced ego that helps move you into the multi-dimensional. So we're stepping out of the either being too weak or being too strong in your ego. But when you step out of the ego self, where you're just allowing divine source to come through you. As when I first became my light body, being in the temple of Isis, it was Isis that had stepped through me, and she's speaking to 2 people that are before me, and each are having their own conversation. So I'm hearing a conversation, I'm hearing both their conversations, and I said, oh, this is cool, or I thought this, and she said, shh. So she was reminding me to step out of my ego and just be in the energy. And then 3 people came at a time, and each of them got their own separate message, but unaware of the message that the other had. So, and I was listening to all 3 conversations at the same time. Very nice. Sometimes I have to turn that off, when I go into the airport, because I'm hearing everybody's little thoughts whipping around, and so I just have to tune it down and just like, okay, let's just cocoon yourself.
Yeah.
Just be aware.
Yeah. Just be aware.
And then there's another little lesson there too. As you start to raise your frequency and you are moving into that multidimensionality, you do blend with the person or the people that are around you. So out of respect, when you're blending with somebody's energy, you have to ask permission. So if somebody sits in front of me and they want a channeling, or they're asking me questions, they're giving me permission to move into their energy and listen, to their energy and their thoughts. And sometimes Divine will say, it's share this message, and it's a stranger, share this message. And so, you share the message. But just to sit there and to see whose mind you can tap into, that's not, it's not respectful. So I'm really, really respectful. And I just ask people, when you are moving through that stage where you're becoming multidimensional and integrating with all that is around you, just do it with respect, because it does come back on you.
Yeah, people get excited. It's almost ego, right? That they can tap in like this. But yeah, permission. And yes, I agree. When they come and ask you, that's permission, right?
Yes.
I agree with that. I understand because I understand because I go there with people when they're trying to come out of what I call the matrix,
Yes.
Because there's certain things that are holding them, that are whatever, and when I tap in, it's like I get to see everything, right? When I'm working with them, I see it all, and it's like, okay, all we have to do is make this little adjustment here and a little adjustment here, and you'll be on your way. And so, because even like myself, there are certain things that hold me back that I can't figure it out, right? I could sit there all day with and forgive and whatever, but it's kind of like cutting your own hair, not that you do that, but cutting.
Well, I do.
It's like cutting your own hair. You can cut the front, but it's the back you need help with, and so we all need that. It's not like we're we all need to be able to communicate, share, and that. But when I tap in like that, it's they gave me permission by asking, and then I go in and I can see where all of this is happening to them, inside of them. And so I think it's the same thing you're talking about.
And sometimes when I do tap in with people, sometimes I don't get insight. And then I ask, do they really not want to know? So if they don't want to know, or they're there because somebody has asked them to be there, then, nothing really comes through. There have been times that I had a woman that was very short-lived from the time she saw me, and she had cancer. And she knew she had cancer, it just wasn't confirmed. And when she asked about her illness, I saw this black wall. And I couldn't go beyond that black wall. And so when her family left, because she had brought the whole family, I asked to speak to her in person, in private. And when I asked her and shared with her about the wall, and I asked if she had cancer, and she said, I do, I just haven't told my family yet. And she was ready to go, so she was done. And she was gone about 3 weeks later. So there was nothing for me to share except that she would have a peaceful transition and what she would find on the other side. And then on another area too, some people will ask, where am I going to be in, 10 years or 5 years? And sometimes nothing comes because their consciousness can't handle or isn't prepared, not that they can't handle, they can't conceptualize, yes. Because it's a multidimensional state that they're going to be experiencing, and where they're at in their 3D ego realm and where they're at, they can't fathom that. So it doesn't do any good to tell you that. You're going to get there, so giving them the steps and the tools that they need to go on that journey. But there are times that I'm not given permission to share that because they wouldn't believe it. It's too sci-fi for them yet.
Yeah. True.
But most of the time, if you ask me, the information is there, the energy is there, and if you ask, I share.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Gently and lovingly, but I share.
Yeah. So you're going to be, where's your next adventure? Where's your next
event
you're going to, yes, or going to be doing?
Well, the next event actually is tomorrow. If we I have a channeling the Gayle Live call-in show, and you can go onto the website keystoascension.com. Little plug there.
This is your show. You can plug it as much as you want.
Okay, thank you so much. So the Gayle Live show is I do a channeling. The energies come through, divine source comes through. I share a channeling, and then the floor is open for question and answers. And most of the questions in the beginning tend to be around what has been shared in the message. And then, time allowing, we let people ask anything that they need because that's I'm open to them. Mm-hmm. So that is tomorrow at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So you can go on the website and then click on that and have the link. So that's the next event. And then at the end...
So by the time this show comes out, it'll be too late. So when's the next radio show then?
Oh, yes, very good. So the next, every second and fourth Wednesday at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Is Gayle Live.
And they can see that the schedule for that on your website as well.
Yes.
Right?
And should you miss it, and or you're working or something has come up, you can always go to the archives. Go into the website to the store and go to the archives, and then you can purchase it there too.
Okay. And your next live event
will be at Temple of Sakara. That's in Michigan, Allegan, Michigan. Mary and Dean Hardy have been doing that. I believe it is their 33rd year of doing this conference. I've been there almost 20 years, and it's quite nice. It's really nice. We do a fire walk too on Saturday night, so it's really nice. The channeling, we have a group channeling. I do a group channeling Saturday and Sunday. Then I do privates, so you have private access to me. So I do privates during the day at 8 o'clock. Then in the morning in the pyramid, Mary and Dean Hardy have this wonderful pyramid that I think sit 60 to 80 people. And then we start the day off centering the energy and raising your frequency, and I do a guided meditation at 8 o'clock in the pyramid, and then we go into a panel. So it's really delightful. It's outside, people camp, they stay in the little hotels around, so it's really quite sweet. Good-hearted people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's on the website too, and go to events.
Cool. And your next trip? What are you doing on your next trip? Where are you going?
The next trip we haven't firmed this up. The next trip will be Sedona, to experience the vortexes there. We would like to next year, Jason and I take a group of people to experience the energies and bringing in the energies of the divine through the channeling, and just have the raising of the energies and attunements there. So that is on the calendar, but we don't have a set time. Probably sometime in September,
but people can always get attunements with you. They go to the website and book and have attunements done over Skype, over the phone.
Yes.
They can get in touch with you that way, right?
It's really nice. We make it really easy. So there's guidance when you go to my website on the navigation bar. There's guidance if you just want some divine guidance, for your life, or you can have attunements. I have also a page for channeling or healing. So whatever you resonate to, then you just click on the button, schedule your appointments, and then you have access.
Cool.
It's quite nice.
Nice. So do you have anything final words that you'd like to say as we round up the show?
Yes, just to be kind to yourself, be gentle. We're in this transition, the planet and humanity, everything on Earth is moving through this multidimensional state right now, and we really are moving. It's bringing forth all the lower chakra, the survival issues, victim, lack of self-worth, the doubt, the self-doubt, all those things are moving up. So people really have been kind of bombarded, not everybody, but a lot have been bombarded with their issues coming up. So just brace yourself, because you're in a transition. And when you find that you're hitting a wall or having a tough go of things, just get still and move into unconditional love. And one of my favorite things to say is, I am joy, I am love, I am light, I am. And that just moves me into, it shifts me out of whatever uneasiness or ill that I'm creating at the moment. So, it's 3D, this is life, things come up. So it just shows you where you're at. So there's no guilt or blame or shame. Something comes up, just address it. Just move through it with unconditional love. Heal it, forgive it, and raise your frequency, and then things just take care of themselves. So be gentle on yourself. Be conscious of what you're saying, because what you say and you think manifest immediately. And just always come from joy, love,
That's right.
and bliss. Yeah.
Cool. That's right. It does. Yes. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And we'll
Very
have to
much.
do this again sometime.
I'm looking forward to it. So for all of your viewers out there, you can go to the website. I do have a monthly newsletter, and sometimes it comes out a little more often. But the blog, you can catch me on the blog. So sign up. Now we have a meditation and a channeling that you can download when you sign up for the newsletter, and that's free. So it's just nice little spiritual tools that come through, and little guidance that I'm being shared to share with others. So that's go to the website, keystoascension.com.
I'll have it above, and you'll see it above on the video here. Yeah,
Oh, you're
or below. I'm depends whichever I choose to do.
Yes. Well, it certainly was a pleasure. I always enjoy talking with you. It's very nice, very comfortable and easy.
Well, thank you. I try to make it that way, so it's just a friendly talk.
It is.
So until next time, we'll
Yes.
talk again soon. Take care.
Thank you so much. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Bye-bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.